So we are officially going to get started. This is Yaoi Ebooks. My name is Melanie Nichols, and I really hope you enjoy this panel and learn some stuff. I am going to drop a link in here that is the slides for the PowerPoint. And I believe I set it to anybody can view it if they have the link. If people can't view it, let me know and we can fix it. But the reason why I did that is because Discord has this weird thing where it won't let you do like screen grabs. And I really want you to have all of these lists of things that I have established. So, oh good, we have confirmed we have access. Perfect, wonderful. So don't worry about screen grabs or any of that. We have, you can just look at that and I will post it at the end. Okay, so let's get started. I just want to clarify before everything else that this is going to be more American focused because I am from the US. And so I can't give you details like, what's in your country, but hopefully there will be stuff in here that you will find useful. So just remember, it is US focused, so I won't be able to say, oh, here's something you can use in France, here's something you can use in New Zealand. Unfortunately, I only have access to so many things in my country. So before we officially get started, I am the admin of Massachusetts BL Fans. Feel free to join if you are interested. You do not have to be from Massachusetts to be a part of the group. We have lots of in-person events, but we also have lots of virtual events, like virtual watch parties, book clubs, virtual game nights. If you don't have to be from Massachusetts, feel free to join. The Discord is the place to be. That is where we do all of our events. Okay, so here we go. The manga ebooks panel is, it's going to be set up where we're first going to talk about why even bother going digital. Then we're going to talk a bit about hardware and formats. Then we're going to get into the legality of ownership. And that's only going to take 15-20 minutes. And then the rest of the panel is going to be all where to actually buy stuff, okay? So let's start with why go digital. And there's a lot of reasons. We have cost, we have supporting authors, we have limitations in the yaoi industry, digital exclusives, and convenience. So when it comes to cost, this is an example of Sasaki de Miyano. A printed book without any discounts is $13. 13 times 9 books for the whole series, you're looking at over $100. But if you do the ebooks, which on Amazon are $6.99 a book, times that by 9 books, it's basically half that. So you can save quite a bit of money by going into an ebook format. And the next reason why you might want to go digital is it's about supporting authors. And when we talk about supporting authors, the number one thing we need to focus on is scanlations. Scanlations are scans of manga that have been translated by fans instead of professional translators. Scanlations do not support the authors. And an easy way to spot a scanlation is if you ever see one of these pages being oh, this was the translator, this was the proofreader, this was the cleaner. Normally those are done by scanlation teams. The typesetter for a company usually isn't named Buttermilk Biscuits like it is here. And I'm going to say the point I'm trying to make is not scanlations bad, you're bad because you use scanlations. That's not the point I'm trying to make. If you use scanlations, that's fine. I mean, people have to have access somehow, and it's a complicated industry. And it's very easy. You just Google search a title and immediately one of these mini scanlation sites will come up and you can read it that way. My point I'm trying to make is not scanlations are bad. The point is there are ways to support the author, and they can be less expensive than using a print book. And there are even some free methods that we are going to be talking about. In addition to scanlations, another aspect of the industry itself is how unique the digital manga industry is. So digital titles can make more money for authors than print titles. And I'm sure some of you are like, what? How does that make sense? If the print book is $13 how would the author make more money if I spend $6.99 for the ebook? Well, it has to do with the fact that printing is really expensive. You have the cost of printing, you have the cost of warehouse storage once you have printed the books, and then you have the cost of shipping the books from the warehouse to either shipping centers like Amazon or to bookstores. There's a lot involved here. And because of all of that, print books are actually much riskier, because like if you print a ton of books and nobody buys them, then you have sunk a lot of money into the printing process, paper, ink, time, all of that. And you are also sinking money into the warehouse storage of all these books that are not selling. So print books are so much riskier. And because they're riskier, publishers want a bigger cut of a print book than they do of a digital book. And what's interesting about the manga industry is that you are dealing with both American and Japanese publishers. So they are both taking a cut out of this book. And you have all the costs of the printing, the warehouse storage, the shipping, all of that is coming out of the cost, that $13 you're putting into the book. And what's left goes to the author. And what's left is only going to be a little bit. I was actually talking to someone from June at the Shonen Con once. And they were talking about how it wasn't unusual that an author would get twice as much money on an ebook versus a print book. Because with the ebooks, he was like, it's just like nothing. It doesn't cost anything to like produce an ebook. It's an electronic file. Whereas these print books, they cost so much money to make. So I know it sounds weird that the author would get more money if you buy a digital book. But in truth, because it doesn't cost as much to make that digital book, the author can get way more money if you buy it digitally. So you are supporting authors by going digital. And another interesting thing with reasons why we should go digital is the limitations of the yaoi industry. I took this screen grab. I don't know if this book is still $617 on Amazon, but oh my gosh. The problem is that there's so much risk in printing. It costs so much money to print that a lot of time you print in small batches. You don't know if the book's gonna sell. The problem with Tyrant Who Falls in Love #7, you don't know how many people have read that far. A lot of people will read book 1 and 2 and give up. You know, not everybody is gonna read that whole series. So there's an uncertainty is, can we make enough money off of 7 to print a whole ton? And what ends up happening, they don't print very many. And that's very common in yaoi, because normally with other stuff like My Hero Academia, you can just keep printing and printing and printing and people will eat it up. You don't know how much yaoi-ness is out there, unfortunately. You don't know how many people are brave enough and dedicated enough to get a volume 7 of The Tyrant Who Falls in Love. So another good reason to go digital. Also, when we're talking digital, we have to talk about stuff that's only available digitally. So, Love Pistols. I've been reading Love Pistols for a long time. There's like 12 volumes out. Problem is, after like, I think volume 5, they stopped printing them. People just weren't buying them enough to justify the cost of printing. So the only way you can get up to volume 12 legally is by buying them digitally. Yes, it is still going on, Squeak. Oh my god, it is still going on. Author, just wrap up the story. I can't handle it. Anyway, but there's stuff that has never been published ever, like in a print format ever. So like, I really like Detested by the Demon Lord. I really like Yamada Tuchome. There is no like print Yamada Tuchome. Detested by the Demon Lord has never been printed in print. There's stuff like this Kodoko Kazama Omegaverse over in the bottom right, and that has never been printed. That's over on Manga Planet, and like, so the only way you can access it is through a digital format. Additionally, sometimes there are extras that are only digital. So his favorite is a really long-running series, and his favorite actually has like an extra that you can only buy digitally. This extra is like an extra story where they're on a deserted island having sex on a beach, and there's like a couple stories that have these extras. Sublime has done a few, and I think Tokyo Pop did one for I forget the name of it. but they are sometimes extras that are not a part of the main volume that you cannot get in a print format. That's another good reason to go digital. And then also webtoons. We are going to come back to webtoons, but webtoons very rarely get printed, and they are awesome. Another good reason to go digital. And then the last thing to go digital is convenience. You can download dozens of books to one device and carry around that one device instead of several books, and then people don't see the book. People don't know what you're reading. You can read it anywhere, anytime. I read it at work while I'm on my work breaks. You can also download free samples to see if you like the book before you buy it, which saves you money, and it also saves a lot of physical space. I have like hundreds of ebooks that I've purchased over time, and that saves me a lot of space. I only have so much room in my room. So that is all the reasons to go digital. We are now moving on to hardware. So when we're talking hardware, we're talking tablets, cell phones, computers. So tablets, they feel the most like reading a book. You hold it like a book, adjust brightness for comfort, tap to turn the page. They feel the most like reading a book. And they come in a wide variety of formats and ebook readers to choose from. In general, size can be important. Small screens can be bothersome to some people. Others have no problem. It's a matter of personal preference. If it bothers you, get a tablet that's as big as a manga book, 9 inches or bigger. So I literally took a manga book to the store and I put it on a tablet until I found a tablet that was as big as a manga book. That's how I got my first tablet. And so that is what I recommend if that bothers you. Phones are another hardware medium, so they come in a wide variety. You can read in a wide variety of formats and ebook readers to choose from. Some people are comfortable with small screens. Others have some people are uncomfortable with small screen sizes. Others have no problem. Once again, this is a matter of personal preference. If you have a problem reading manga on a small screen, you should try webtoons. And for anyone who doesn't know what webtoons are a style of comic developed in South Korea, and they are made to be easy to read on phones. So you read them vertically, and there's lots of white space in between everything to make it easier on the eye. Authors outside of Korea are starting to create comics in that format because it is so popular on phones. And what's happening is a lot of manga is being republished in a webtoon format. So this is an example of Titan's Bride, and on the left you see the original manga, and on the right you see that what they did is they took it apart piece by piece to make it into a webtoon format, so that way it is easier to read on your phone. So if you are ever on your phone and you're like, oh, this is bothering my eyes, try going into a webtoon format rather than just reading the whole manga page, and it will be much easier on your eye. And then lastly, computers. Computers have like some people have no problems reading with computers. Others hate reading with computers because it feels so far away from you. It doesn't feel like you're reading a book. The screen is so far away. It feels more mechanical. And once again, this is a matter of preference. If you are going to read on a computer, I recommend reading with a PDF format. Because the PDF format, you can make it any size and it stays that size, and then simply scroll down. Most formats, every time you turn a page, you have to resize it. PDFs, you don't have to do that. You just pick one size, it's now that size. It is hands down the most comfortable way to read manga on a computer. So next, formats. So when it comes to formats, when you are buying something in a store, so this is Mad Cinderella, you will have, sometimes you'll have options on what to purchase. Like sometimes you'll have like different things to choose from. In general, I recommend a PDF or a CBZ. So PDFs are great for tablets, phones, computers. They work for everything. They are a scrolling medium. They're usually fantastic. PDFs are great. CBZs are different. They're good for tablets, and I would only recommend them for tablets. There's a wide variety of CB readers available, and they are a page-turning medium. So if you want that feeling of turning a page rather than scrolling, that is the medium to go with, but I do recommend them with a tablet. So formats I would avoid, EPUBs, PRC, Mobi, you're not going to really see PRC and Mobi that often because they're old, like obsolete Amazon formats, but EPUBs you see a lot of. I've personally had a lot of trouble with EPUBs. So here's an example of an EPUB I purchased. This is a screen grab of my tablet. I did not add the big white border on the top, the big white border on the bottom, the big white border on the sides. That was just how poor the resolution was on that EPUB. It was just like, EPUBs can be very finicky. Sometimes you get really bad ones. So if you have a PDF or CBZ option, definitely go for that. I don't recommend the EPUB. So that is hardware and software. Now we're going to move on to, can you own an ebook? We're going to talk a little bit about legality here. So, ebook ownership. In general, there are two types of ebooks. The first type, books you can download as a file, like a PDF, CBZ, EPUB. If you can download this as a file, you own this book and you can read it forever. As long as you have the ability to open a PDF or a CBZ, you can read that book. You can save it in multiple places. You can make a copy and have one place in one spot and one copy in another spot, so you never lose it. This is your book to do with what you will. The other type of ebook is ebooks you can only read on a third-party app or website. So an example is like Kindle or Nook. So you would buy the book on Kindle and you can only read it on the Kindle app. If you can only read a book on an app, you do not own the book. What you own is access to the book, not a copy of the book. You can access it as long as you have access to the app or website. If you lose access to that app or website, you lose access to that book. So, sum up, if you can download it as a PDF, CBZ, EPUBs, etc., you own it. If you can only read it on a website or app, you do not own it. So, what happens if an ebook store closes? So we're going to use the example of Bilibili Comics. This was a Chinese company, and they had a lot of Chinese comics up, and people were buying comics up there. And what happened was when they shut down access in the US, people who had bought comics lost access to those books. So if a store shuts down and you have the type of ebook you can't download, you will lose access to that book. Now, does that mean that's going to happen with everything? No. What's more likely to happen is stuff will move to a new store. So I'm going to use the example of WeComics merging with WebNovel. So like WeComics shut down and they merged with WebNovel, and they transferred their comic licenses to WebNovel. And the reason why they're transferring this is because those licenses are very valuable. And if your company is liquidating, it's going bankrupt, you want to get as much money as you can. So you're going to sell those licenses and you're going to sell those client accounts. So let's say Barnes and Noble goes under. What's probably going to happen is a store like Amazon is like, well, we want all those customers. Those customers are so valuable. We will buy all those customer accounts and we will buy those licenses. And so what's more likely to happen is that your stuff will get transferred over to a new site that will get merged rather than the whole site shutting down. But yes, in the case of Bilibili, if you access it through an app and that app shuts down, it is possible you will lose access. So what happens if an ebook store loses an ebook or webtoon license? I have actually had this happen so many times. Like genuinely, I've had this happen so many times. It's kind of funny. And every single time it's happened, whatever I purchased, I kept. So I purchased Walk on Water on TappyToon, and TappyToon lost the license. And whatever I had purchased, I kept. And I would have to go into my purchases to find it, but I could still read it over and over again because I purchased it. The only thing that changed was new customers can't buy it. The only way a new customer can buy Walk on Water is if they go to Lezhin, because Lezhin has the license now. But I still have access. So don't worry too much about apps and stuff losing licenses. That happens all the time. Sometimes it can be a little annoying because in order to get access to the webtoon or the book, you have to like go into your purchases and your settings and find it, instead of it just being on the main page. That happens. It's a little annoying, but like I've genuinely had this happen so many times and I've never lost what I purchased. So that is the end of like all the technical stuff, okay? So the next part of this whole thing is all going to be where to buy / read. And we are going to have a lot of lists of different sites. Don't worry, those are all in the PowerPoint, and I will post that again at the end in case anyone missed it at the beginning. So first, we're actually going to talk a little bit about libraries, then subscription sites, webtoon sites, and manga sites. So first, why are we talking about libraries? Well, actually, many libraries have ebooks, and some libraries use apps. I'm going to be using examples from Libby, but your local library may have a different app. Not everybody uses Libby. So this is an example from my local library where if the book was available, I could borrow the book. If the book was not available, I could place a hold, and it would tell me like where in line I am to get that book, how many people are currently reading it. And I will say there was uncensored stuff. So the Black Sun I rented was uncensored. So your local library may have some uncensored yaoi. It depends on your library and where you are located. I live in Middlesex County, so apparently the Middlesex Consortium has that sort of thing. So yes. Also, I need to mention interlibrary loan. This is a way of getting a book from another library. So I'm going to show you this example. This is like an Attack on Titan book. And when I go to my local library, which is Chelmsford, I search the Attack on Titan and it shows me all of the books that are in the area that are a part of the same consortium. Libraries usually aren't super independent in the US. They are part of a consortium and they all like share resources. And so you see there's like that same book is in Chelmsford, it's in Andover, it's in Billerica, it's in Boxford. And so let's say I want to get volume 1 of 10 Vans. And the only copy in the consortium right now is in Haverhill. Well, I don't want to have to drive all the way to Haverhill to get this book. With interlibrary loan, they will take the book from Haverhill, sell it to my local library in Chelmsford. I will pick it up from Chelmsford, I will read it, I will drop it back off, and they will send it back to Haverhill. So it's not really ebooks, but it is another way to get books. But that's the end of libraries, sadly. Now we're moving on to subscription sites. So here's a list of all the subscription sites that are available, and unfortunately we do not have time to go into the pros and cons of all these subscription sites. So I'm just going to give you some recommendations with subscription sites. The number one that I will recommend for yaoi is Manga Planet. So Futekia was a yaoi subscription site. Futekia merged with Manga Planet. It costs $6.99 a month, or you can get a better deal if you do like several months. And I also want to mention that what's nice about this subscription site is that they have the Futekia pepper rating system, which I find super helpful. So for example, if you look at these covers, the dragon's husband looks very, very smutty. And but it only has 1 pepper. And so if I had gone into it thinking it was going to be really smutty, I probably would have been disappointed. But I like saw the 1 pepper, so I knew going into it that it wasn't going to be. And it was so good and I loved it, but there's like no sex. And so these pepper rating systems are really helpful. So when you're in the mood for something smutty, you can have that. And when you're in the mood for something more romantic, you can, look for 1 or 2 peppers. Also, with this, I don't know what Google's problem with Manga Planet is, but oh my god, I have recommended Manga Planet to multiple people, and when they search Manga Planet in Google, it doesn't come up. Like other things like Anime Planet will come up, and like competitors will come up, but Manga Planet won't come up. So please use the website, look for the logo. I'm sorry, Google doesn't like when you type in Manga Planet. I've had so many people try to Google search it and it doesn't work. But I do recommend using it. If you are looking for it, this is what the website looks like. Just to be clear, this is what it looks like. So the other subscription service that you may consider, there is the Yaoi Army. They include English authors. They're not just Japanese authors. It is a little more expensive. It's $9.99, but it is a subscription service that includes animations. So they will have, like, they will publish books, and then they will also make animations of those characters. So that is another subscription service. But my number one recommendation is Manga Planet. There's a lot there. And so in general, with dealing with subscription services, I can say definitely try free trials to see if you like a subscription service. Don't be afraid to try the read, cancel, and come back method. Read what you want, cancel it, and then what's going to happen is they're going to add more to their library over time, and you can come back and try again and just keep repeating that. Like, you don't have to like stay faithful to one subscription site. And I will say subscription sites are great for like trying new stuff. Stuff you're on the fence about. You don't know if you like that author. You know what I mean? It's a great way to try a bunch of different things. So that is the end of subscription sites. Now we are moving on to Webtoons. So there is a lot of different like Webtoon sites. We don't have time to get into all of them. So I'm just going to have a few recommendations of what to do with Webtoon sites. So first, I want to say, when it comes to Webtoons, remember to shop around. Like, remember to, like, if there's something you're interested in, see if it's available in other places. When it comes to, here's like an example of Biting the Tiger. This comic is available in many different places. And if you don't like shop around a bit, you won't realize that the most cost effective is to get it with a subscription to Manta, which is $4.99 a month, or to buy it off TappyToon, which is going to be cheaper than buying it off of like someplace like Leshen or something. And it's not just about money when it comes to shopping around. When shopping around, it's also important that, like, sometimes licenses can be weird. So here's the Kingsmaker, and season 1 is on Leshen. It's about 60 cents per chapter. Here's the thing. If you only are in Leshen and you don't look at any other sites, you won't realize that this has 3 seasons, not 1 season. Season 2 and season 3 are available on TappyToon. They're called Triple Crown. You can get all 3 seasons there. And not only is it cheaper there to buy them there, but season 2 and 3 have a mature version that actually have like different stuff in them. So like, if you are only stay at one site, if you dedicate yourself to Leshen, you won't see that there is other stuff in other places. So please shop around. And shopping around can also be helpful with censorship. So here's an example of Dear Door. Dear Door is in several different places, and there's places that have like the lightsaber version, and then there's places that have the uncensored version. Now this changes all the time, but in general, I think Manta and Tampus are the only ones who currently have the uncensored version. And I was reading it on TappyToon for a very long time, and then once they came out with the uncensored version on Tappus, I immediately started buying it on Tappus. So shopping around can be really helpful with mature content too. Also, when it comes to mature content, there's some weird logistical things happening. You have sites that have like separate apps, and you also have mature content that's only available on web browsers. So with separate apps, the example I'm going to use is Leshen. So Leshen, they have an app on the App Store, and then they have a separate app that is not on the App Store. And this has to do with the fact that the App Store won't let them have mature content on the App Store. So to get around that, they have like a separate like app that you have to get through your web browser. Like you have to actually go onto the web browser, and you have to download it separately from the web browser, not the App Store, so you can get the mature content. And then, as I was saying, that's one type. The other type of app is where they have the mature content only available on the web browser, or you have to like unlock it on the web browser. Examples of that are like Tappus and TappyToon. Like Tappus has like a separate section that's mature that you can only get on the web browser, and then TappyToon has a thing where you have to like turn on mature. And this is really, really, really important, especially when it comes to search functionality. So here's an example. This is my phone, and I'm on the app on the left, and I search for the Ennead, and only one thing pops up. But then if I go onto the web browser, two things pop up. And this is important because the Ennead is one of those ones where it's not just lightsaber. The author actually redrew scenes. Like in the mature version, like there's a scene where they are having I can't say the word. They're having anal sex. They're having anal sex in the mature version, and then in the Ennead, the non-mature version, she redrew the scene so it was a hand job, which is like, how is that better? I don't know. And then there was this big debate among the fans as to whether or not they liked the penetrating anal or whether or not they liked the hand job better. But it was different depending on whether or not you're reading the mature or the not mature version. And if you are just on the app, you don't see that. You only see that if you are on the web browser. Last thing with webtoons, don't forget, whenever you see these like little clocks and stuff, those are usually like wait until free, which basically means that you will read an episode and then after a period of time, you will unlock another free episode. And so this is actually a really good way to read stuff for free. If you are patient, you can basically read the majority of a series for free. It's actually really nice, and a lot of different apps do this. Most of them use the clock symbol to indicate it, or they have like wait until free like logos up there. So that is the end of webtoon. We are moving on to manga stores. So there is a wide variety of manga stores to choose from. We're just going to talk a little bit about a few yaoi stores, and then we're going to talk about kind of general recommendations for stores. So I just literally just said it. Yeah, we're going to talk about yaoi publisher stores, and then we're going to talk a little bit about recommendations for general stores. So first, I want to clarify, when I am talking about yaoi publisher stores, I'm specifically talking about yaoi publishers you can buy from directly. Like there's plenty of publishers like Kuma and Tokyopop and all those kinds of people, but you can't buy from them directly. So I'm just going to point out these few that you can buy from directly, because these are sites in which a lot of the time you can buy a format like a PDF or something, which you can't get on like Amazon or Barnes & Noble, stuff like that. So first is June. I'm sure I don't have to explain June. It is one of the big powerhouses. They are one of the places where you have multiple formats available, and they have a lot of stuff, always getting new stuff. Sublime is like one of my absolute favorites, and right now they have PDFs and EPUBs. I recommend PDFs. I have not tried their EPUBs, but I've heard very good things about their EPUBs. Sublime is great. Iridori Sakura is one of the sponsors of CitrusCon. They are a yaoi yuri store, and they include a lot of Barogate Komi. So if you're into Barogate Komi, definitely head over there. They have PDF option for many of their books, but not everything on the site. It's just the stuff they're publishing themselves. They can be a little more expensive because they specialize in doujinshi, which means like self-published works. But a lot of these self-published works can give a lot more money to the author because you're not going through these bigger companies. Check them out. And then we have the Yaoi Army. We mentioned the Yaoi Army before because they have a subscription. They include English authors. They have PDF formats for some of their books, not all of their books. They have a subscription, and they sell animations. So those are like yaoi publishers that you can go to and you can buy directly from them and get like downloads, like PDFs from a lot of them. Unfortunately, most stores don't have that option. Most stores are going to want you to use their app. A lot of these stores on this list are going to want you to use their app, their web browser, whatever it is they are using. So in general, I'm going to give some recommendations for just yaoi stores in general. The first one is shop around. Just like with the webtoons, definitely shop around. I highly recommend that. Here's an example of why. This is Mouthmate, and if you go on June, it's $4.45 a chapter. But if you go on Bookwalker, it's only $2 per chapter. So it's literally half price. Now, Bookwalker, you don't get a PDF or whatever, but if you're just looking at cost, definitely shop around. You will find very different prices on different things. Like I remember when I first bought Sex Pistols, also called Love Pistols, they had a sale on Amazon that made it so like each book was only like $4 a book. And so I ended up buying them on Amazon instead of Sublime because it was just cheaper and I didn't have a lot of money at the time. So definitely shop around. Next, these are kind of a list of questions to ask because I really want you to pay attention to what you are buying before you buy it. And so one of the first question you should really be thinking about when you are buying an ebook is it a chapter or is it like a whole book? So I'm going to use the example here of Zeniano. So Zeniano, it was on Amazon. I think it's still there. And they were selling the whole volume for $6.99. But they were also selling them each chapter individually for like $1.99. And then if you added up all the chapters, it was like almost $13. But it was the same like book. It was the exact same size, the exact same pages. It's just that you could buy it chapter by chapter and spend double the money, or you could just buy the volume. So when you are buying something, definitely check to see, is this a chapter? Is it a volume? Is there an option for a volume? Because I've seen this on multiple sites. I've seen this like on Amazon. I've seen it on Renta. I've seen it in several places where like they will have the whole volume available, and it's much easier to just buy the whole volume. So like just do a search. Like here I just did a search and then I saw multiple things come up and I'm like, oh, there's the whole volume. Well, I'll just buy the whole volume. Second question to ask yourself, is it the original manga or is it the webtoon version of it? So we talked about this before with here's the Titan's Bride example, where you have the original manga version and then you have a breakdown into the webtoon version. And so this is happening a lot. They're doing this more and more. Here's an example of a book they've done it to, Reincarnated into Demon King Evilantrea's World. There's many different versions. So there's many places that have the original manga version. There's places that have the vertical webtoon version. I was actually buying it originally as a webtoon on Coolmic because I wanted to read it on my phone during my work break. And so I was buying it on Coolmic, and then they came out with the uncensored version. And I literally rebought it because I'm like, God, I'm going to have the uncensored version. I absolutely love this comic. There's different versions. And if you want the manga, get the manga. If you want the webtoon, get the webtoon. Just like, definitely like check out, if there's a free sample, look at it to see, is this the manga version? Is this the webtoon version? Also, when speaking with webtoon versions, so here's Renta has the same book, and they call it Verticomics. This is the version they turned into a webcomic. So you have the regular version, and then you have the webcomic version, and it can get a little confusing because they'll change chapters on you. So I'm using this example of A Coward Falls in Love, and the original manga is $2 per chapter, and there's 6 chapters, but the webtoon version is $1 per chapter and there's 12 chapters. And that can be very confusing because people are like, wait, is there more in the webtoon version? Is there like more to read? No, the answer is, in general, when you break up a manga version and you create a very long file, that long file is so incredibly long that they break it up. So one chapter in the manga will end up becoming 2 or 3 chapters in the webtoon version. That doesn't mean you are missing anything. That doesn't mean like it would be better to buy the manga version versus the webtoon version. It's literally whenever they like take all of this apart and make a new format out of it, they change the chapter numbers. So just be aware of that. So then the last questions are, is it a quality ebook? Is the image clear? And is there a preview? Like, can you actually look at this book to see if the image is clear and it looks good? So I'm going to use the EPUB example. The Maiden Rose, when I got the EPUB and it was just terrible quality. On the right is an example I haven't showed you. That's Three Wolves Mountain. And I got it on Kobo just to test out Kobo because I'd never tried Kobo before. And I couldn't figure out how to make it one page. And I actually like contacted Kobo and I was like, I can't read it one page at a time. And they were like, oh, that book doesn't come in that format. You have to read it 2 pages at a time. It was very weird. I've never had a store do that. Kobo thankfully stopped doing that. I don't know why they were doing that for manga for a while. But like with a preview, a lot of the time you can see these kinds of stuff before you buy them. I will say the few times I've gotten a really bad ebook, I have been able to return it. Like if you return it right away, I've had good luck getting my money back. So yeah. So those are the questions. Shop around, ask these questions. I hope that's helpful. We are going to be moving on to a Q&A section. And so my lovely assistant here will, we will start reading questions, and we will also, like if people want to talk in person, that's cool. The one thing I will say, I'm going to go ahead and do my personal favorites because everyone always asks me this. So I just went ahead and made a separate slide to start it off. Okay. So personal favorites, what I use all the time. I personally, for subscription sites, my favorite is Manga Planet. For webtoon sites, I really use Lejhin, Tapas, and Tabitoon a lot. Sometimes I will use Coolmic because there will be some good stuff on Coolmic that you can't get anywhere else. And then for manga sites, I really, really like Amazon and Barnes & Noble because I like the way the app is done. I'm a big fan of just the formatting of their app. And Renta, I don't like the way the web browser and how you read it on the app or the browser. I don't like it as set up as much, but there's some stuff on Renta that you just can't get anywhere else. I was talking about Yamada Tuchon with the demon book earlier. Like you can only get that on Renta. So I end up going to Renta for a lot of unique stuff. All right, so that is my spiel. That is my personal favorites. Everyone always asks me about that. What do we have comments? Yep, honestly, prefer physical media. Totally get that.
Yes, we have a question asking, what would be a good tablet that you recommend?
So, honestly, it's whatever you can afford. Here's the thing: is tablets can get expensive. I personally, my first tablet, the one I had in the picture, that tablet had like no memory on it, and so I got like a cheap memory card to add on more memory. And the nice thing about using these apps is you don't have to have everything downloaded at the same time. So on Amazon, I literally have dozens and dozens of books, but I only need to have the one I'm currently reading downloaded. And so before I go like on a vacation or something, I'll download a couple books off Amazon, and I'll download a couple books from my library, things I've purchased on Barnes & Noble, on Renta, and then, so if you buy something that has like zero space, you don't have to have your whole library downloaded at the same time. And that's what I did for a very long time. Was I just had this, that was all I could afford, was a tablet that had no memory. And I would just only download like a couple books at a time. And then once I read them, I would undo the download. So it would be in my library and I could re-download it whenever I wanted to, but it just wasn't on the device. Because here's the thing is nowadays, tablet quality is so good. The picture is so clear. What you're really paying a lot of money for is often the memory. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you're willing to invest in a more expensive tablet, like my second tablet was way more expensive than my first. It's nice because you have lots of memory and you can have like a lot of books saved on there. But I still keep with the low memory stuff. You can always get the micro card, whatever the SD card you put in there to expand the memory, and that's cheaper than buying a more expensive one. I hope that answered your question. Honestly, it's whatever you can afford, and I do recommend it being at least 9 inches for manga. My first one was 9 inches, was the one you saw in the pictures. My current one is a little bigger, and it's so yeah, just whatever is as big as your regular manga book. That's what I recommend. All right, so what's the next question? Clubhouse.
I will say, I like adding to the tablet version. People are talking about a lot about being an ebook reader. Someone who does have a Kindle, I've had them for like a decade. It is really nice. E-readers are real nice devices, and I know like lately there has been like a lot of advances in like the technology, especially when it comes for graphical media instead of just words. It's like, do your research there too. They tend to be cheaper than tablets too.
One thing I will say about the Kindle is like nowadays most Kindles you can read you can have apps on them, so you could have like the Barnes and Noble or the Renta app on your Kindle. Not all Kindles do this, but if you get a Kindle that has the ability to have other apps on it, then it's just as good as any other tablet. Because then you can like, if something's cheaper at Barnes and Noble, you can buy the Barnes and Noble app, read it on the Nook, and it's still on your Kindle tablet. So it's all about like, is your tablet big enough, and does it have the ability to have multiple apps on there? So that's what I would recommend. But I do see a question that is, what is the most customer service friendly site you've experienced? People are gonna hate me for this, but it's Amazon, hands down. I have had so much good luck with Amazon, and people are gonna hate me for this, because like whenever I've had a thing where I've gotten like someone had uploaded it was Sublime. Come on, guys. They, instead of uploading the actual manga version, they uploaded the printer version that has like borders on 3 sides, and I complained, and they gave me the money back like right away. And like, I don't know, I've had really good luck on Amazon. I know people hate Amazon right now, and that's fair. I like the Kindle app. I like the Nook app. I keep buying stuff on them because I like the apps. I'm a page turner gal rather than a scrolling gal. But let's see, the next one is, can you get library stuff on Kobo's now? I don't know if Kobo's, I don't know anything about, is Kobo's the same as Kobo, the purchasing store? Because I bought stuff off of Kobo. Kobo's different with an S? Kobo user, you can, it depends. Okay, so I think it is, Kobo is, I haven't done very much Kobo in quite a while, but so I don't know if you can get stuff on the library there. Can I buy library stuff on the Kobo reader? Yeah, so you can buy stuff like from the Kobo app, and so if your reader is a type of Kobo tablet, I'm assuming you can. Okay, I should probably say something. You know what? I should probably put this in my panel. But the store, what do you call it? The App Store for Windows users, Android users, and I believe Apple users as well. They have this thing where they don't want you to buy ebooks off the app. Like, they don't want you to buy an ebook off the Kindle app, off the Barnes and Noble app, which is called Nook. They don't want you to buy it because they want to like tax all like purchases that are like going through. So in order to like buy the ebook off of Amazon or Barnes and Noble, you have to go on the website and buy it, and then it will go to your app. And Kobo, you guys were talking about Kobo, might have the same problem, that they might not let you buy it directly on the app. You might have to go on the Kobo website on your web browser. Even if you're on your phone, you just go to the site on your web browser and buy it there, and then it will go to the app. I'm sorry, I don't know more about Kobo. But I hope that isn't confusing. It's just a thing that started a few years ago where you couldn't buy ebooks on any of the apps anymore. Thankfully, they haven't had this with Webtoons yet. You can still buy Webtoons on the Webtoon apps. It's just these manga books that they've been really finicky about. Patreon subs, really good through the app started changing. Same. Are you putting? Yes. Oh, here, let me repost it.
Okay, for it.
Let me close this. Hold on, escape. Whoops, that was not the right button.
Ooh.
Let me escape out of the PowerPoint. Go away. Escape. Why won't it let me leave the PowerPoint? There we go. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so that is a link to the PowerPoint. You can use any of the slides you want. You can also contact me. I've literally only had one person ever reach out to ask me questions about the panel. So feel free. If you want to get in contact with me really easily, I am always on the Discord for the Massachusetts BL fans. I am one of the 2 admins. Oh, my wallpaper? Yeah, it's Scumvillains. So I hope that's helpful. Any other questions? I'm not a super good manga. Cope with devices, you can add your own docs.
Someone asked before, by the way, which side do you have the majority of your collection on? Like, where do you buy the most stuff?
My recommendations. So the thing I tend to have the most is Amazon. The Kindle app and the Nook app are like the big ones. I have a ton of stuff on Renta because like there's a bunch of stuff you can only get on Renta, but it's definitely Amazon and Nook, Barnes and Noble, because I just like their apps. I feel really comfortable with them. I like them more than getting a PDF and downloading the PDF. And it's really annoying because I will get like the tablet has no memory because I don't have any money, and you have to like download the PDF, and then it's like, okay, now I have to like save the PDF on my computer somewhere else, so I don't lose that. I don't want to lose that in case like door goes under or something. And what's so nice about like the Kindle app or the Barnes and Noble app is like all of your stuff is there, and you can just download it whenever you want to download it. And so if I want to reread something, I just go on the app and I re-download it, and then I can read it. And I just fell in love with that. But I do have like a ton of downloaded books. So it's like, where's my books here? I have a folder of books. Oh gosh, where did I put my folder? I don't even remember all my stuff is, but like I have like a backup folder with all here ebooks. There we go. I have a backup folder with all my like purchased ebooks that are in like a CBZ or PDF format. And this is not the majority of my library. The majority of my library is on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. And I have, like I said, I have quite a few on Renta. And then I have all my webtoon sites that I like. So what other questions? I thought I saw another question and then I started talking.
Yeah. Let me see. I mean, there's another question to the chat that I guess if you do it, you can answer too. They're asking, what do you use to track the things you read?
What kind of things do I read? Oh wait, what was that Discord you were a part of? Here, I see that question. This is the Discord. Massachusetts BL fans. You do not have to be from Massachusetts to join. We have lots of online events as well as in-person events. So if you're from Massachusetts, come to the in-person events. But if you are online, we have online watch parties, online game nights. We also have like an online book club. Feel free to join. We have people from all over the U.S. as well as people from outside the U.S. in there. Okay, anyway. Reading apps. No, what am I reading? Okay, so I'm someone who is very diverse in my interests, where I will like really super cutesy stuff, but I also like really super hardcore stuff. So I will like really get into something like Dear Door and be like, this is the best thing that ever happened. Like I said, I've bought Dear Door twice. I bought it on TappyToon, and then they came out with the uncensored version, and I bought it again. And they're gonna come out with a print version, and you know I'm gonna buy it again. Like, I'm like a big like stuff like that, like Titan's Bride, Evalangia, the Transport to Evalangia's World, like that kind of like very sexy stuff I like. But I also really like stuff that is cute and sweet. I like stuff that has a lot of plot. So as you can see by my background, I love Scumvillains. Scumvillains is like plot centric. Like I love MXTX stuff. Like Urha, I'm a big Urha fan. There's so many things I like because like it's just sort of I like everything, and I think the biggest thing for me is characters, and if the characters are fun and if I enjoy the characters, or if the plot line is good, like I don't really care about how weird or crazy it is as long as the plot's good. or as long as the characters are really interesting. I think the darkest thing I like is Mad K. I love Mad K. I'm such a huge Mad K fan. I am super, super into monster fucking stuff. And the sweet things, what's it a good, I like his favorite. I really like his favorite. It's so silly and funny, or like Love Stage. Like I really love a lot of that cute stuff. Oh, like Cherry Magic. Cherry Magic is so fun. So yeah, I have a wide range. Like I'm really into monster fucking, but I'm also really into like cute, silly things like Cherry Magic. But my current obsession is Scum Villains. Like that's the thing. That's the only thing I'm buying merch for. I'm buying, well, other than Twittering Birds Never Fly. I'm actually a huge Twittering Birds Never Fly fan. I actually, did you guys know? So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of like Nendroids, where they have like was it not Nendroids? Is it Nidoroids? Where they have like the different faces you can pop in and out. Here, let me find Nidoroids. I don't know how you spell it. Twittering Birds Never Fly. They have their own set of dolls. Here we go. And so what's great about these dolls is they have like faces that can come out and like different arms, so you can like change them as you want. And like the only ones I've ever bought were the Scum Villains ones, because I love the Scum Villains. Scum Villains, I'm obsessed with Scum Villains. But then I also pre-ordered these guys because they are the only things I've ever bought merch for, was Scum Villains and Twittering Birds Never Fly. If they did a Dear Door one, I'd probably buy that. Or Titan's Bride. Love Titan's Bride. Evilangio, one of my favorites. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. It's one of the wonderful things about being an older adult is like sometimes you have money and it's wonderful. But yeah, I don't have the pictures up right now, but my Nendroids of my Scum Villains, they are literally I keep changing them every season. Like for Christmas they have little Christmas trees, and then for Halloween they have little pumpkins, and I change their faces and their arms, and it's so much fun. And they are sitting on my work desk. I'm a librarian, and so I'm in a library and I have my little Scum Villains dolls, and they're decorated for every single holiday. And pretty soon there will be Twittering Birds Never Fly dolls there as well in my library.
That sounds so cool.
It's great. Like they're the only, like I said, they're the only stuff I buy merch for. A lot of people, they buy posters, they buy dolls, they buy all kinds of stuff. And I don't have a lot of dolls or things like that. These are the only things I've ever bought stuff like actual like merch for. Like I have a bunch of Scum Villains t-shirts and Scum Villains pins. I love Scum Villains. We only have like 1 minute left. Did we have any other questions?
I was waiting for you to end because like people were enjoying the rant, but the question was more about like trackers for reading more than like what are you reading.
So what for reading?
So like do you use something to like track the things you've read? Say something like
track the things. Oh my god, I completely like didn't understand. I am so sorry.
There's no problem. The answer you gave was great anyways.
Okay, basically I just have like a list, and if I ever get confused as to not a list, like I have all the books and I could just look up, oh, do I own this book? Because I will say there are times when I buy books on sale and then I don't have time to read them right away, so they're kind of just in my thing, and I'm like, oh wait, did I buy that book? And I'll like go look at all of my books and I'll be like, oh, there it is, I need to read that, because I bought that like a year ago when it was on sale. But I don't have like a list that I keep track of. I will say what's nice, the Manga Planet lets you have like favorites, so I will like favorite stuff on there that I've read to keep track of stuff on Manga Planet that I've read, because it's a subscription site, so you don't own anything, so it's harder to keep track. I hope that answers the question. I'm so sorry, I completely did not understand.
No problem. So I haven't seen a question in a while, so Unless anyone has anything else to say, I think we're gonna be closing it here.
Thank you. I really hope this was informative. I hope this was enjoyable. I'm going to post one more time this PowerPoint. If anybody wants it, if anyone has questions, please contact me. I am happy to talk about this any time of day. This was not recorded, and so sorry about that. But if you have questions, please feel free to reach out. I am happy to answer any questions. But I hope the PowerPoint is helpful. I hope those slides are helpful.
Actually, let me check this quickly. Yeah, this has in the schedule I have it marked as recorded. Then CJ was here for that. So
cool, because like I gave him permissions when I signed up, but I didn't know if they were actually going to record it. So if this is online, cool. Whatever. Yeah, go ahead, post it on YouTube. Because I do want people to learn how to buy ebooks, and every time I do this, I try to make it better and better. This is actually the 11th version of this panel, and I have 13 versions of the non-Yaoi version of this panel, which is slightly different. Yeah, we get a lot of detail about other stuff that I don't get into detail in the Yaoi version. Can we still get the? Yeah, I'll post it again. There you go. That's the link.
Yeah.
Do you see that text?
Yeah. So, thank you very much for hosting this. It's honestly, there's way more ways to get yaoi than I thought there were. Thank you very much for all the information.
That was helpful. Yeah, I existed in a time. I'm old enough to remember a time when there was not reading sites where you could go and read scanlations. There was a time where you had to download directly from the scanlators in order to read them. That's how old I am. And so when ebooks started to become a thing, this was just magical. It's oh my god, I can buy them cheaper. I literally have no money, and so anything cheaper was amazing. And that's how I got into this.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think we're gonna be calling it close. Thank you very much for everyone for being here. Thank you very much for hosting, and please enjoy the rest of the con.
Thank you.